All right. So we're going on a series of what to do when your visa is being denied. Like I mentioned that, one thing you don't want to do is to destroy your credibility in the process of trying to overcome your visa denials. You're going to hear a lot of stories, you're going to hear a lot of strategies, people are going to tell you a lot of things. Those things that they're telling you, you want to be sure that, you're looking at them critically at some of them that may be destroying your credibility or not. If anything, you want to ensure that the credibility is maintained over time and the credibility is sustained. That's number one. Number two is that visa officers like to, especially in the F1 denial case, visa officers like to see their money has exchanged hands, right? Between yourself and the institution. Have you gotten more funding? That's a genuine way to show that your situation has changed. Because if they're trying to look into your case to overturn the denial, the visa officer needs to be able to uh, uh, put put in a reason why they overturned the denial, which will be very credible for them to say, oh, the school offered more funding. Now the school is a bit more affordable for the students, and the student is more likely to be able to afford or to be able to pay back in a good time, blah, blah, blah. And like I said, even with the green card application process, they like to follow the money. And, in every industry, you follow the money. Anywhere you see the money, that means that some value has exchanged hands there. There's something valuable there when money is exchanged. So you say you got an award. Right? Everybody can say they got an award. Anyone can print up something, but is there like a cash prize attached to the award that you can use in proving that this award was genuine? And then how do you prove that? Showing like a snapshot of a bank statement where the money came in, or like a check, or any of those things that can make them see more integrity in the award that you claimed that you have received. Um, as we get on the journey, wanted to also mention that's some of the things you want to be thinking about when you're trying to overturn your visa denials will be to think strategically. What's your strategy, right? It's okay to get emotional, right? There's no one that won't get emotional because of the hard work that you've put in into the visa application process, into the school application process, but how do you really prove that um this is a dream that is worth achieving, right? Is by detaching yourself away from the emotions and ensuring that you're able to, you know. Uh, 1 second, please. Let me ensure that this mic is properly plugged. Let us resume. Okay, so your strategy towards overturning the visa denial is something that should be sitting at the core of your thinking at this time, right? The first 3 days, the first 1 week is okay to be emotional. It's okay to, you know, cry yourself to some comfort, but you don't want to lose in two ways. You don't want to lose the visa and then still not be able to plan a comeback, right? So I imagine that some of you that may have been denied today, it's not exactly because you're not worthy of being in that program. It's not exactly because the visa officer is 100% correct that you don't qualify for the visa at that time. Remember that the visa officer is also human. They're looking at things, with context, right? They're thinking through everything with a certain framework that they have, expecting you to fit into that framework for them to be able to approve your visa. Maybe it was a communication gap, maybe it's a cultural gap, right? When I say cultural gap, a good example is you saying to a visa officer, maybe a visa officer that is not exactly very experienced yet in that particular visa unit in that country. And then you come to somewhere like Africa, in Nigeria, or in Ghana, and as a visa officer, you hear a candidate say, when you ask them, like, who's paying your fees? And the candidate says, my uncle, or my aunt, or my dad, or my granny, or even my cousin. To them, it sounds a bit absurd because the cultures are different, right? And that's not to say you shouldn't say that, right? But at times a little bit of context can help because to them, at the tertiary level, it's all about you taking charge of things yourself, getting a loan and whatnot, right? So when you say that your uncle is paying or even your dad is paying, it throws them off a little bit, not because it's the wrong thing to do, but because they're not used to it, right? Some of them that have been in that region for a while will understand that the African culture is like that. Your uncle can pay your fees. It might not even be this uncle might not be your relative. In Africa, a random person that was just a family friend that got a bit too close for comfort is being referred to as uncle. And in our culture, that kind of person, if they're well-to-do, it's normal that that kind of person pays your fees. So maybe a little context can help, right? Maybe if you're able to spot the disbelief in the eyes of a visa officer, again, is all about context. You're the one who is driving that vehicle when you are having that interview. So when you say that and you see maybe like, a reaction or whatnot, you can add that context and say, hey, look, I also understand that, it's not the norm in the US, but out here, it's normal that uncles pay. And, I'm looking forward to pay for my nieces and my nephews or something like that, right? That helps. And it helps quickly snap the thoughts out of the visa officer's head. That's one of the things that I wanted you to think about as regards, cultural gaps. Now, as you proceed on this journey as well, like I said, strategy is very, very key. Strategy will eat breakfast. It will eat hard work for breakfast, right? If you have the right strategy, things will work right. And what kind of strategy do you need? I don't know. Every person's situation is different. When I was dealing with my visa denials, I was an entrepreneur and I had a business in Nigeria. And my business in Nigeria had been in existence for about 10 years at the time when I was applying. Uh, I did not have the financial issues at the time, but, a few other reasons why the visa officer might be denying me at that time, but I had to have a strategy. And what was my strategy? My strategy was very clear. I still had enough time. I think my denials happened sometime like in April. I still had enough time to quickly apply to some of the schools in Europe, right? Particularly in the UK. I applied, I got into London Business School at the time, and that alone, believe you me, gave me the right confidence to understand that I have an option. I'm not useless. And the visa process to the UK or the Eurozone is not as tough as the one of the US. The only thing is you got to understand the advantages and the disadvantages. It's just that in the Eurozone, particularly in the UK, your funding options are not as much and they're not as flexible as that you find in the US, right? When I mean funding, I'm talking financial aid now, right? So that's one thing that I did and I also mentioned to myself that, look, if I didn't get the US visa, after getting admission into London Business School, I was still thinking that, look, I'm going to still try again for the US visa. And if I don't get it and I decide not to go to London Business School, what am I going to do to ensure that in 1 year time, I will be better off than for me to have started the MBA last year? And I know that that's a very big ambition to take on, but you know, it's something that keeps your mind sane and it keeps you going. You know, you need to be able to convert the pain into motivation and begin to get certain things done. You have an 8 to 5, good job. 8 to 5 is good. Maybe within the next 1 year, you should think of having a side business that can bring you extra income. And that's not just because of the money. That's also in the long term. If you decide to reapply to an MBA program, either the same school that you deferred or another school, you have new stories to share. You have new impact to share. And why does that matter? That matters because that gives the school more reasons to increase your funding. And why do schools even fund people? One of the reasons why they fund people is that they want to associate with your goals. When you graduate and you are doing well, the school wants to associate with you. They want to use your success as, you know, a yardstick to show potential students who are thinking to get into the MBA, and either they're in your field or not, they're able to easily show them that this person is doing well. So with the right funding, when they see your application and it looks like your goals, they look at what you've done before, they add the MBA to it and look at your post-MBA goals. Are they achievable? Like, do they make sense? When things like that look quite achievable, then funding is coming in, because now they want to compete to ensure that no other school gets you. And that's the whole idea of the funding. So that if another school gets you in, you can let them know they can give you more funding. These are the kind of things that bring full ride. So I don't want you to see it like you have lost the battle. If you had a deficit of about $80,000 this year, and by next year you can reduce all of that to say $40,000. Let's break it down to the minimum. Let's break it down to the basics. Think about it that somebody is giving you $40,000 cash to get in the NBA next year rather than this year. Wouldn't you take it? Because the pain and the agony starts when you graduate. The financial impact is not hitting you right now because you are not paying upfront. You're taking a loan. Because if you were paying upfront, your whole deficit is like $120,000. You had that $120,000 to spend. And the school says, but if you can wait till next year, we can reduce that to $80,000. I think we will think about it differently. So bringing in that strategy and ensure that you are not in the same position next year is key. Now, this is not to say that you shouldn't try this year anymore. Everyone's case is different. Everyone's situation is different. Some people have a stronger reason to try again. Some people just want to try again just to get their conscience off. But you must ensure that as you're trying again, you're trying with a strategy that does not leave you stranded eventually, because you have you have bills to pay even in your home country. You have to feed, you have to get certain things done. Some people are dependent on you for feeding and other things. So you must think wisely and ensure that you just don't, this call is a reality check to let you know that it's not over. Bring in the right strategy and maybe you'll get full funding next year. Another thing you can try your hands on will be to try applying to new jobs. While you're in your current job, try to apply to a new job. Try to apply to a better role, because the process of applying to business school has actually changed your mind in a certain way that you might not realize. And the way that you apply to jobs will differ, right? You'll do a better job applying to jobs. And if you can hit that new job and you can be in that job for about a year before you go out for the MBA next year, those are some goals that you can also communicate in your application to bring down the deficit. Also, think about it from this perspective that as you head for the MBA, say, for example, you'll be getting in next year. Say, for example, you're getting in next year. A few things will be working better for you. A few things will be working better for you next year. Number one, you have enough time to plan to gather the money that you need to apply from another country. Majority of those that did not get approved in our community last year, those that did not get approved, they knew that this year they were not going to try it locally because they wanted to remove the local bias. And doing it internationally, you also want to be the first set of people that are doing it so that that embassy is not already overwhelmed or already hearing certain stories over and over again. And they're thinking that, okay, this trend got to stop. Another advantage is you have an opportunity to apply to even better schools than you got into this year. And the cool thing about that is you already have some friends. You already have people that you met in this journey that are going to those schools who can advocate for you internally, get you into those schools, and get you good funding. That means that you now have trusted fellows in those programs. That means that when you resume school, you have a community of people that are already going to be waiting to ensure that your entrance is going to be on soft landing. You're not going to have to sleep on the floor for a couple of days before you buy your things. You're going to be able to find someone to pick you up from the airport. There's a lot of value that is waiting should you decide to do it next year. Now, I'm not saying you must dump your ambition to try again this year. I'm just saying that is not all terrible. The fact that you were rejected doesn't mean that you are not worth it. No. Visa officers and admissions of officers are different. The admissions officers had taken months to look into the profile and say that you are a fit for this top class program. But a visa officer wants to look at it in 90 seconds and say you are not a match or you are not qualified. No. The KPIs that a visa officer has is quite different. It's not one that is checking if you are worthy of being in that program. And because of the way that they do this, they will rather miss than regret, right? Even they know, or the way they think is that, or I imagine that the way they think is that, look, it's not so bad rejecting this person, right? I'd rather reject this person and have them come back, prove themselves better than to approve this person and this person becomes a national security threat, or this person becomes a liability to the United States, or this person becomes someone who is defaulting their loans. Because to them, they don't see those dreams that you're pushing. They don't see what it costs you not to go that year. All they see is number, applicant number 78. And because, when they approve that visa, it's my name that will be on the on the log that I'm the one that approved this visa. And we're not getting into certain details because we're recording. But what we're really talking about here is that not getting a visa does not diminish your dreams. It doesn't snatch the dreams from you. It doesn't make you less of who you are. It might be painful. It might look like it's setting you back. But in life, nothing really sets you back. You just have to step back and re-strategize. What in the next 1 year can I get myself involved with? I can ensure that by the time I get in next year, I'm in a better position. I'll give you a good example. There was a member of our community that got rejected visa in 2023. She got rejected. She got in a session like this, listened, and decided that she was going to start a travel and tours company, particularly targeting MBA programs that are looking to visit Africa so that she can be a local resource for them. Show them around Accra, Ghana, show them around Lagos, Nigeria. It's easier for them to align with her because her story can be very clear. Oh, I got into so and so business school. I'm only out here because the visa bounced me. But in the meantime, I want to ensure that I'm still driving impact. She can easily reach out to her colleagues in those schools and say, look, if you hear that your school is going to be coming to Africa, please connect me. Those people still feel some sort of empathy for you. So, and they also want to be a part of something that works. And these kind of opportunities just really come through in business school because they will just ask around, like, oh, I want to go to Ghana. Anyone has any ideas? And then because you had that conversation and that was a strategy, someone in that MBA program can plug you in and then they begin to have conversations with you. Now, this lady was able to host about 2, 3 MBA programs in Accra and in Lagos, took pictures, made money. That helped her grow her network. She got into a better school the next year. And guess where the ultimate value came? She had gone to apply from another embassy, another country. And now the story was, what are you going to do after your MBA? Look, I already created a business that keeps me in Africa. I already have my first set of clients from the MBA community. It makes sense that I go in for the MBA to ensure that I grow my network for my potential business back at home. I bring in structure to how MBA programs visit Africa safely and to ensure that I can do my, financials the right way, my strategy the right way, and have the right partners. So that really changed the story for her. And they were asking, okay, what of internship? In her case, it was very clear that she did not need to be in America for internships. It was an opportunity for her to be back in Nigeria or in Ghana because many organizations or many schools, many students will be looking to take treks. During those holidays, students just put themselves together and they travel together. And usually they are looking for a local resource that is trusted and that has credibility. So our story really came together and it made sense. So the visa denial had allowed her earn more money, allowed her get into a better school, allowed her grow her network, allowed her get better funding, allowed her land in America with soft landing in 2024. Did she cry the first 1, 2 weeks? Yes. Did she pick herself up eventually? Yes. Could she have gotten all those things if she did not pick herself up? No. Because if she had just kept crying, she will be in the same position that she was in 2023 as that when she's applying again in 2024. She most likely will have the same admission, the same funding, the same story, or a different story that could put you at risk. And that sets the story aside in no way. The reason why I'm having this conversation today, if you did not hear anything else, is to let you know that your dreams are valid. If you don't stop, you will eventually get it. And I want to also show you a visual representation of the challenges that people get on the MBA journey. And I've not done this before now. I want us all to be collaborative and let's just, play with this whiteboard for a second. Now, this is a graph. Hey, Jesus. Let me. Okay. Now, this is a graph. I need to reduce this a little bit. Okay. This is a graph. Here we have the F1 visa. Here we have the B1, B2. Here we have H1B, for example. Challenge 1. Challenge 2. And challenge 3. So for the F1, let's say visa is a challenge. Let's say job offer is a challenge. And let's say green card. Chris, well done. No, you're writing on my screen. So let's say green card sponsorship is a challenge. And here there can be a lot more challenges, but we're just focusing on 3 for now. Let's look at the B1, B2. The visa may be a challenge. Change of status. For either job, marriage, or travel. And even renewals. That's a challenge. All right. Let's see. Here, also, green card sponsorship can be a challenge. For the H1B, the same thing. H1B, the visa, this, that. All these things are challenges. Now, if you look at this challenge matrix, you can tell that if you hear people's story generally, once someone faces this challenge here, they are somehow more informed. They are more informed and they know what they faced here. Michael, why are you looking for our trouble? Michael Chuku.
Sorry, Dayo.
Let me say to everyone, if you try to write on the whiteboard, it's gonna write. So please don't write on the whiteboard for now, please. I'm writing from another machine, so I can't turn everybody off. So so if you have a challenge here, you may not have the challenge here because you already have the tenacity. You've already done some research here. You already know how things go, right? Some people will not have the challenge here. They will have the challenge here. Here. And what's the impact of having the challenge here? This is a worse place to be. This job offer place is a worse place to be. Because you are in the US, you have bills to pay. Not only do you have bills to pay, you are running out of status, you are not on green card yet, there's a lot that you need to be doing to hold your status in place, right? This, no, it's supposed to be worse, not the worst. Worse. So the person who is here, except people are not being honest with you in the MBA program, the people who are here wish that they would have this challenge, they would have had this challenge and not have to deal with this. So what you usually find often is at this level, this visa level, whatever you're dealing with toughens you up. What's going on? How come the thing scattered from my screen? Somebody is doing something. Let's go over again. Please stop touching the whiteboard. Okay, we're back here. So dealing with a challenge here toughens you up and ensures that you are ready for everything that wants to show up here and here. Matter of fact, you have enough time and opportunity to gather more resources while you were here. I just wanted to, ensure that this is very clear to you that it's all about how you see the visa denial and how you are preparing for it, right? And if you decide that the next time you are applying for this, you'll be applying within the next 1 year, you may as well be getting yourself ready for maybe an EB1, okay, or an EB2. Let me bring that up to the fore. Right? You may as well be getting yourself ready for this. Because whatever you challenge yourself with for the next 1 year may give you all the artifacts that you need for this, give you all the artifacts that you need for this, give you all the artifacts that you need for this. Also give you the artifacts that you need for this. Because this is still a possibility now that you have a network in there. And the cool thing about this kind of visa, this particular one that some of you may not know, is, you see, if you see this visa is a single intent visa. That's why they can tell you that, oh, you don't have home ties, you're not coming back home, right? This is for studies. This is also a single intent visa. But you see, this one is a dual intent visa. So if you find yourself in a position like this, the visa officer can only focus on the job offer. Is it real? And are you qualified? Are you really qualified? And be sure that it's not a scam. Because with this one, it's more of a lottery. If you get into the lottery, then during the interview, they can't be telling you, oh, do you have ties? In fact, during the interview, you can tell them that, oh, I don't plan to come back to Nigeria or to Ghana. But the safest things to say in that situation is, I'm not really sure if I'll be coming back yet or not. I'm going to make my plans as things go on. But the single intent visas, you must state that you are coming back. trying to ensure that you are very, very armed with as much information to see that you're not exactly in a bad place. Some people get in with H-1B visa. This H-1B visa is valid for 3 years. From that 3 years, let's say the job does not want to renew the visa for you. It's renewable twice or 3 times, I'm not sure. And that means that you will now be told to leave the US if you don't find a job within 90 days, I think. For the F1 visa, once you graduate, you have only 90 days to get a job. If you don't get a job, you are told to leave the US. This is where many of your colleagues are dealing with a lot of pressure. And things are happening here in the US. Many people may not tell you, but the idea of a call like this is to ensure that we're very clean, open, and clear so that you are better armed and understand what you're dealing with and begin to think about, oh, what do I really want to be doing for the next 1 year if I am not applying again? You might have a job and they just tell you suddenly that, oh, they're not keeping you anymore. Jude, leave our whiteboard. Or during the green card sponsorship, you may also want to be careful to ensure that you're not moving with the wrong crowd. Because here, if you do the wrong thing here, even if you've gotten the green card and even if you've gotten the citizenship 10 years later, they will remove everything and deport you. But you need to be clear about visas like this because now you're going to be hearing a lot from all these people that will be coming to advise you left and right. These EB1 and EB2 visas, they are immigrant visas. An immigrant visa means that you are saying to them that I want to go and live in your country. And what does that mean? If you are denied this visa, you are never going to be able to apply for non-immigrant visas. So you never be able to apply for F1, you never be able to apply for B1, B2, you never be able to apply for H1B because while they're applying for those, they will ask you a question. Have you ever applied for an immigrant visa or has someone applied on your behalf? And if you lie, it's a ban. So what happens when you are denied a visa? Because this one is actually these two, they are green cards, right? You're applying straight for the green card. So what happens if you are denied here? You can only keep reapplying to this immigrant visa because now it's not going to make sense that you have been you've been denied an immigrant visa where you have mentioned that, oh, I want to come to your country. And then now you go back to now say, no, I don't want to come to your country again. I just want to visit. That's not going to work. It's an automatic denial. I wanted to pause here and see if people had specific questions so that we can touch them for the next few minutes as we come to the end of the session like this. I intend to ensure that these strategic sessions happen as often as possible and people learn so that if anybody is coming to you with any story, any opportunities, you are better equipped and you know what the consequences are. Even better than the person that is trying to preach those things to you because all those visa agents, they don't know these things, or if they do, they're just. Are there any questions at this point? Okay, no questions. Does anybody want a copy of the recording?
Hey, Dio. I have a question, please.
Yes, please go ahead.
So, when is the best time to, start applying for the EB1? Let's assume you've already gotten to the US. Can you start while you're in school, or if you have everything, maybe ready, or is it best to just wait till you graduate from school before you apply? Because if you have it during school, it helps, the internship applications that you're doing. You're not limited to only those that sponsor.
That's a very good question, Shell. And that's something that I wished I knew earlier. The day you land the US into your MBA, you can start applying for your green card because it's self-sponsored. Now, the thing is, which one are you applying for? We can get into those details later. But the EB2, because you're Nigerian, is you're going to be limited. Like there's a lot of people on the queue. So even if they approved you, it's still going to take around 2 to 3 years before you pick up the green card. I remember that, I had to wait till the end of till I graduated before I applied for the EB2. I got approved in 2 days, but guess what? It's still not my turn right now to file into the green card status and get that green card. What I had to do a few months later was to now go and file for the EB1, because with the EB1, once they approve you, you can immediately file for the green card. And you can immediately file into your green card status and get your green card. So I had to do that one again. But there are 2 different categories of green card, and what you need to meet either one of them is different, right? We can get into those details later, but you don't have to wait. The moment you get into the US, you feel like you have what it takes to apply, go ahead and apply. One of the things that makes sense the most in a journey in any of those green card categories is to already have a master's. So if you have a master's degree already, either MBA or regular MSc, it's very helpful towards the application process. I'm going to take one more question and we're going to call it a day. And as this session goes on, you can see how much we're getting very technical. So this is not like, we're not going emotional and just saying, oh, your transcript, your this, your that. This is our core visa strategy sessions, right? And we would ensure that we try as much as possible to make this a little recurrent. We're not sure if we're going to have to get people to subscribe to it, because it's a little bit more extra work and extra resources as we record and we make it available to people. I mean, maybe the first 2-3 sessions will be made available for free. And then maybe we're going to have people subscribe to it, just so that we can have more resources to pull in a lot more intelligent strategies going forward. But, this is how it is. Let me see. Someone said, please, how can we reach you subsequently? Is there any email address? Somebody will drop a WhatsApp number in here. We have those services where we do strategy sessions. So somebody will drop our support number. Just reach out to that number on WhatsApp and you might be able to book a session with me there. Can you please drop the support number, Joy or Latifa? All right, that's the WhatsApp number. Reach out and we can take things from there. But again, thank you very much, guys, for joining. The fact that you're rejected at this time doesn't mean that you are less of who you are. I believe that is just a setback that gives you time to re-strategize and get in the MBA even stronger.